Good morning. I'm Nathaniel Reveal, and welcome to today's service on this wintry morning, the third Sunday of January, 2022. Today's service explores the January Soul Matters theme of living with intention. Let us gather together. As Reverend Denise lights our chalice, I'll start our opening words from Katie Covey, the Director of Children's Religious Education for the Soul Matters Project. Intention is different from setting goals or resolutions. It pulls us into who we truly are, whereas goals and resolutions push us out into future possibilities. To set intentions, we must listen to our inner voice, which tells us who we truly are. At the heart of Unitarian Universalism is the practice of being in covenant with one another. A covenant is a promise, an aspiration of how we will be together. And we invite you to recite our covenant with us. We covenant together to make a welcoming community, to walk together in the way of truth and love, to seek the life of the Spirit as it is known by each person, to support each other in thought, word, and deed as we work to build a better world. Welcome to the month of living with intention. But what do we mean by intention, and how does one live with it? So, imagine an anchor. An anchor is a heavy weight attached to a boat by a rope. And when your boat is in the place where it needs to be, you throw the anchor into the water, and it sinks down and grabs hold to the bottom of the sea. And an anchor then holds a boat gently in place. So intention is an anchor for your hopes and dreams. It's a reminder to stay close to what matters to you. It's a spiritual practice that keeps you connected to your most important beliefs. Goals are great. They're sometimes called dreams with deadlines. They can inspire us. It feels really good to make progress toward a goal. But if you're not careful, sometimes the world changes around you, and the goals that seemed so important at the beginning now don't quite make as much sense. We can end up tired and frustrated and lost. And that's what anchors are for. When you pause, when you drop your metaphorical anchor, it lets you rest and regain energy. It gives you a chance to double check that you're going in the right direction, that your goals are still taking you where you want to go. It's a chance to ask, is this still the most important thing right now? Intention is an anchor that helps us stay connected to what is most important. So, today we're going to explore how pausing, how dropping anchor can help us remember what is important. Let's begin with Leah Morris and the story of two cousins, one from the country and one from the city. And in her story, Leah reminds us that we really only hear what we're listening for. Jesse, let's start the video.
Let me tell you about the cricket and the coin. One day, a pair of cousins were taking a walk down a busy city street. Now, one of the cousins was what you would call a city slicker, someone who lived in and was used to the urban lifestyle. The other cousin was what some people refer to as a country bumpkin, someone who was more accustomed to the rural countryside way of living. But on this day, they found themselves together in a city. And as they were walking, if you've ever been in a city, you know the sounds, the sights, the impressions that are constantly bombarding the senses. It's a loud and exciting place to be. Horns blaring, people shouting, construction taking place. And amidst all of that bustle, the country cousin said, "Is that? Ha! Do you hear that? A cricket." The city cousin said, "No, cuz, no way. Listen, there's no way there are any crickets anywhere within a 20-mile radius of here. And even if there were, there's no way you could hear it over all the noise." The country cousin said, No, I hear it. There's definitely a cricket." And wouldn't you know, within a minute of continuing their walk, they found one of the few plants that was growing in the city, and there on its leaf was a little cricket singing its song. The city cousin was admittedly impressed and said, "Wow, this just goes to show you country people have great sense of hearing." But the country cousin wasn't so convinced. As a matter of fact, they thought it would be a good idea to launch an experiment to find out if it was really a matter of country people having better hearing. And so they pulled their change purse out and dropped a few coins on the sidewalk. The heads of every passerby turned toward the sound of the fallen coins. This story illustrates that we are more likely to notice things that we're used to noticing. So it's a good idea to pay attention to where we pay attention, to focus our intention and choose where we place our focus. And this story inspired this song. Are you listening to the falling leaves? Are you listening to the calling trees? Are you listening? What are you? Are you listening to the water dry? Are you listening to the gotta give it a try. I hear vision becoming. I know that nothing is wanted. I hear light. I hear light. I hear light. I hear light.
This month at GNUUC, we're honoring our seventh principle, the interconnected web of life, of which we are a part, by sharing our plate with the Walden's Puddle Wildlife Center of Greater Nashville, a professionally staffed wildlife rehabilitation facility that provides care and treatment to sick, injured, and orphaned native Tennessee wildlife. Walden's Puddle does not charge for services and receives no federal or state funding. Walden's Puddle is a hands-on environmental and conservation organization whose mission is to give wildlife a second chance. The need for its services now has never been greater as commercial and residential development increasingly encroach on the habitats of wild animals. Over 92% of every dollar donated to Walden's Puddle is spent directly on animal care. You can donate online, via text, or by check. Just follow the instructions on the screen or in the chat. We appreciate your generosity. Now, please enjoy this quick video about Walden's Puddle and its adorable patients.
Walden's Puddle provides care and treatment to sick, injured, and orphaned native Tennessee wildlife. We are the only professionally staffed wildlife rehabilitation and education facility in Middle Tennessee. We do not charge for services and receive no federal or state funding. Walden's Puddle Wildlife Rehabilitation and Education Center. We are here to help you help wildlife in trouble.
For our meditation today, we have the song, From You I Receive, by Joseph and Rabbi Nathan Siegel, as sung by the Reverend Kristen Grassel-Schmidt of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. Some of you may remember this from our December interactive service, but if not, don't worry, we'll practice the hand motions together now. Since we're on Zoom today, when you extend your hands, just pick a direction that kind of makes sense to you and the view that you have. Okay, let's practice. So the words go, from you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. Got it? So out, and then in, and out, and then together, and in. All right. I think we're ready for the video now.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
So now that we've had a moment to center ourselves, let's take a look at another practice called taking 5. To take 5 means to take a little break, usually for 5 minutes. Right? We're going to use this take 5 idea in a slightly different way. It's a way to return to intention and a chance to breathe and look inside yourself and find out what your inner voice is telling you is important right now. So, like the slide that you're seeing now, hold your hand up, palm facing out, fingers spread wide. Okay. Now, take the index finger of your other hand, start at the bottom of your thumb, and trace along the outside of your hand. What does it feel like? Is it comforting? Maybe a little bit ticklish? Okay. Well, now that we've got that part down, we're going to combine it with a little bit of breathing. Okay. So when you trace up, breathe in. And when you trace down, breathe out. Okay? So starting down here at the bottom of your thumb, breathe in. As you come down your thumb, breathe out. In. Out. In. And out. Just a handy little tool, a way to remind you to breathe and to take a small break when you need it. Another way that you can return to attention, instead of using just your hand, is to use your whole body in a walking pattern called a labyrinth. A labyrinth is a pattern of pathways that weave in a circle around a central point. Labyrinths are as much about the journey as they are about the destination. They can be calming as you slow down and wind your way through the path. A labyrinth is not a maze. There's only one way in, and there's only one way out. So you're not worried so much about where you're going. Labyrinths can be used to release concerns, questions, to reflect on new ideas, solutions to problems, or answers to questions. Because of the weather, today we'll use a finger labyrinth. On the next couple of slides, or on this slide here, there we go. It's a whole array of possible labyrinth designs. Some are for one finger, some you could use 2 fingers. You have some sandpaper handy. You can even make little labyrinth patterns that you can follow with your eyes closed. Given our technology that we have at the moment, we're going to try and do this with the screens of our tablets and phones and laptops. If you've printed your own, then now would be a great time to find one. Jesse's going to be helping us as well, and he'll be using this labyrinth pattern. And I'm going to walk us through verbally the steps of navigating the labyrinth. Jesse's going to follow along on the screen. And we invite you to follow along either on the screen or on your piece of paper as works out for you. So we'll give folks just a moment longer to get organized. All right. So here we go. Find your labyrinth and pause at the entrance. Take slow and deep breaths. Intentionally choose to enter the labyrinth. As you slowly make your way to the center, you may want to allow your mind to be quiet. Maybe pray for yourself, for someone else. Maybe hold a question in your mind and notice how you feel about it. As you near the center, come to a pause for as long as you choose. While you're there, release from your mind and your heart any prayer or worry or question that you've been carrying. Reflect on any new perceptions, replies, solutions, answers to questions that might have occurred to you as you walked the path. And when you're ready to leave the center, retrace your path back out. And as you step out of the labyrinth, take a final moment to pause in gratitude for the experience. Now let's enjoy Wake Now My Senses by Leah Morris. Words by Thomas J. Mickelson. Music from a traditional Irish melody.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
Each week, we take a moment to reflect on our joys and concerns. You're joining us via the YouTube live stream. This is where that live stream ends. And of course, we invite you to join us in Zoom if this is a part you'd like to participate in next week. Mhm.